Greetings everyone and welcome back to bannersonthewall.wordpress.com. Going audio as we occasionally do for these kind of things, but if nothing else, he said to me, Anthony, let's get to the microphone out. So I figured why not? And given that he's back, it seemed like as good a chance as any to talk netminding with one of, well, 3 confirmed players for next season at Basingstoke. But joined on the line by number 25, netminder extraordinaire, Dan Weller-Evans. Dan, congratulations on re-signing for the new year.
Thank you very much. Happy to be back.
Yeah, year 6. Year 6. Never.
Yeah, year 6 now.
Obviously, it's I mean, being a backup netminder sometimes is a bit of a thankless task. Has the desire to ever go anywhere else been there? Have the offers to go anywhere else been there? What keeps you coming back to Basingstoke is, you've spoken about it at sort of great length, but has there never been any pull over the last little while to kind of test the waters elsewhere, or are you just you happy with the situation that you've got at Basingstoke at the moment?
I mean, offers come in every summer, but it's for me as if Basingstoke want me to be there, then I'm going to be there. It's where it's who I support as a kid, so for me, not many kids get to do what I'm doing. So as long as that offer's still there, then it's always going to be my first option to do. Obviously, with the new coaches and the new structure this year, I say I got a bit more playing time. I did, but it could have been more. But obviously, I was in a bit of an unlucky situation last season. So, this year, Ash has said I can challenge, and that's what I'm planning on doing. So if I can do that here, then that's where I want to be doing it.
Yeah. I mean, you've touched on it there already. Sort of the 2 big talking points, kind of the flips, the extremes at both ends of the situation. You did get a lot more playing time in 2018-19 than you have in any of your previous seasons in Basingstoke, but also got more injured than you have been into the bargain as well. It was kind of a year of almost breaking through and then immediately sort of being reined back in. It must have been quite a tough year in a lot of ways in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, last season, for kind of reasons on and off the ice, was a very tough year. I mean, I've never been injured before like that in my life, so that was all new. It was a lot of, how long is it going to be? I probably did Phil's head in saying, I can play next week. He's like, no, you can't. But obviously, it was heartbreaking because it was something that I've worked a long time for, to try and kind of get the starting role, and it seemed as though for at least for the short term while I was playing well, then that's what I had. But obviously then 5 minutes into a game and that's it.
Yeah,
and it was 6-7 weeks out.
Yeah. First time in 6 years as well that you've gotten back-to-back starts in Basingstoke. You came out for that game against Peterborough, and a lot of people were really, really positive. Here it comes, and then you go from one side of the post to the other, and something just kind of went. Can you kind of sort of explain? Obviously, neither of us are biology degrees or physical sort of therapy degrees, but just kind of explain to people what it is that you did.
So mine was, I think what Phil says, a grade 2 groin sprain. So it was, the muscles are torn a little bit, but not completely. So, which is, it sounds bad, but Phil was saying before, if it was a grade 3, then I'd have my season done. So obviously positives there. It's a lot of work even now through the summer. We're doing a lot of work on it just to make sure it doesn't happen again next year.
Was it a case of you just pushed off your post and it went?
Well, it was a shot on net, which, I say shot on net, it went wide, but close enough to the net for me to go down for it just to kind of cover base. And then I felt like a rip that I've never felt before. So I thought, well, that's not good. And then play went down the other end for some sort of significant period of time. So I was just kind of going up and down in my butterfly when the play was going on, seeing because sometimes it happens in practice and you feel not like that, but something similar, and you feel, that's all right, I'll be fine in a few minutes, and normally it is. But that just wasn't happening, and the play came down my end. I was trying to push my net off, I was trying to get the referee's attention, wasn't happening, trying to get the bench's attention, and luckily for me, the only person I think at the time heard me was Metzi, so Metzi kind of knew what was going on. But yeah, so it wasn't ideal, but these things happen.
And like you say, you're working on it over the summer to try and avoid as much as you can a reoccurrence. But you are, people sometimes forget that between you and Alex, you are in arguably one of the most dangerous positions in all of sport, given not just the amount of injuries that you can suffer, but people are firing something quite hard at you at quite a speed.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing a lot of work at the minute. Me and Phil. I mean, with Phil 2 or 3 times a week. Gym at the minute every day as well. So we're doing our best, but obviously can't say it'll never happen again. But obviously it happened for first time was the longer time, and then it had like a reoccurrence, like a little pull on the same thing. So I feel like I came back a bit early the first time, so just to try and help the boys get back, give Metzi a hand. It was quite a big workload, quite a lot of fixtures that time, but hopefully now the summer to rest and do a little bit, a lot of work, then we'll be all right.
And we probably should mention a very quick word about some of the guys who sort of stepped in to fill the void while you weren't able to back up, Alex. Because we had a couple of people, obviously guys who had experience of being a netminder, but certainly not a sort of second tier level coming in to help the team out.
Yeah, I mean, all the guys, all good guys. They all did a good job for us. They came and practiced, which is a good experience for them as well. Obviously, Aaron being a younger kid, it's good for him to get that exposure. I think he's had a little bit before. He backed up Hull a few times, I believe, correctly, in the old EPL. But yeah, no, that was good for him. He was facing a lot of shots with Buffalo too, so him coming to practice was good. Kev's been around a long time. I remember playing against Kev when I was playing on the island in L2 when I was 16, and he was playing in Swindon. Never changed his style, but he does all right, and like I said, he's been around forever, and he's a great guy as well. And then Kyle's good friends with Metzi, so I didn't really know Kyle before this year, but he knows Metzi from a long time ago. He's a great guy. He loves talking about hockey gear, which is always good for me and Mets because Mets loves it. And then they all did a great job. It was all good for him to step in and get some experience as well while I was out.
Yeah. So we'll shift our focus a little bit more to kind of what's coming up and what the plan is for the two of you going forward. And we'll touch on Alex Mettam first, because Metz is a guy who's obviously been around a very long time. He's been up in Sheffield. He was at Milton Keynes. Was at Bracknell for a very long time. Then then he ends up in Basingstoke in the midst of what we'll just call the complicated carousel of of last summer. But I mean, you've played alongside a couple of really, really good goalies in your time, and I won't say rank Alex Mettam amongst those guys that you played with, because you aside from being peers with a lot of those guys, you're friends with a lot of those guys. But what is working with Alex like? Give us that sort of insight into kind of what sort of a goalie he is in the some of the mechanics, some of the technical side of what we're getting that maybe fans just don't see.
I think Metzi kind of prides himself on being simple. Like he doesn't flop around too much. He always seems to be in the right place, the right time. He works super hard. We have a bit of training, just us two on Thursdays, and he's always there with drills for us to do. Obviously, he does his research on with the opposition, like what drills we can do for certain plays that certain teams do. He's a great guy. He's one of the best guys you could ever meet. I didn't really know Metzi, to be fair, before this year. Obviously, we knew each other from playing against each other, having a chat on the bench, but it's different to know each other properly. And we've got on like a house on fire on day one. But he's what I find very strange is that, not strange, but he's number one goalie, but he's more than happy to share the net. So when I did get those starts, he was like obviously super happy for me. Every few minutes, like, anything I can do for you, everything okay, which is a situation I've had before, and that's not down to the other guys. It's just everyone's different, aren't they? Some people are more quiet on game day and things like that. But he loves to talk. We always talk about everything. If a goal went in, kind of how did it happen? What did you see? Was I doing this? Was I not? But he's just, I guess, so committed to the cause. And last year I thought it was unbelievable. I mean, obviously I'm not ranking guys that I played with before, but at times last year, if you go on importance to the team, where there's games or we weren't firing as much as we should be, or which happens all the time, but Metzi was unbelievable all season long. I wouldn't say really had a bad game at all all year. I mean, he'll say he will, because he's very critical on himself, but I thought it was unbelievable. Yeah, and obviously very deserving of Players Player. I knew for a fact he would have won it when we were doing all our votes. Everyone knew.
The thing I find interesting about watching Alex more close up, because obviously, like I said, we're all Basingstoke fans who've been around for more than a couple of years will be more than familiar with Alex. One of the big criticisms that that people had when he was in Bracknell was that people felt that obviously they'd look at his numbers and they'd say, oh, well, look at the statistics. The statistics are, his numbers aren't very good, and people would immediately fire back with saying, well, he hasn't had as good a defence in Bracknell as he could have had. And he comes to Basingstoke in a team that was obviously put together at very, very short notice, but a defence with an average age of 22, and I mean obviously not to harp on too much about it, but Basingstoke do finish above Bracknell in the league table, but and a lot of people a few Bracknell fans I've read in places felt that they would have finished above us had they kept Alex. I think probably the sort of the point that I'm getting at is kind of because people will obviously sort of make this distinction about goalies are great, or that they so a lot of it's kind of down to their defence. Where do you think the two of you kind of fall in that? How much of it can you kind of credit, or do you credit to yourselves, and how much do you credit it to the guys in front of you?
It's one of my kind of bugbears when people go, oh, this guy's got good stats, which means he's a really good goalie. I mean, I'm sure they are, but the thing is for me with stats is that a shot on goal can be, a penalty shot, it could be a 1-0, it could be a shot from the slot with no defence around, or alternatively it could be a dump on net from the far zone, and they all count the same. So for me and Mets, we don't really look at it. We don't know what our stats are, to be honest. The most important one is wins. For us, whether you play well or not, if the team wins, then you should be relatively happy because you've still in a way done what you need to do. So yeah, shots on goal and things like that. I mean, Metzi, and he didn't have the best defence in Bracknell before. I mean, but then when we went to Bracknell playing against him, we all knew that if Metzi was on form and on fire, then it was going to be a tough night no matter what happened, no matter how much firepower we had compared to them at the time when they were going through their issues in Bracknell, and obviously lost a few guys. But this year is probably, obviously I've not seen him as much before that, but this year was the best year I've seen Metzi since I've been playing at this level. It was unbelievable, yeah. So yeah, we don't really look at the shots on goal, things like that. We don't really listen for it. We don't have a look, because you find as well some rinks you can have the exact amount. You know roughly in your head how many shots you've had, but some rinks you'll say you think you've had 10 in a period and they'll give you 25, or you think you'll have 10 in a period and they'll give you 3. So it's not that important, to be honest. It's the most important thing for us is wins and how many wins the team get.
What do you reckon you've learnt from each other? And I say this because of Alex has obviously had the sort of starting job in a couple of places. You've not been that fortunate, and I'm sure you'd probably be able to tell me a list of things that you've learnt from him. What do you think you've taught him?
Oh, I don't know. That's
apart from where all the coffee shops are in Basingstoke.
Well, he lives here. He knows it all. I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure. I mean, we have discussions about a few things, and he said, "Oh, you made a good point," but I don't know, to be honest. That's stumped me a little bit. I don't know. I mean, probably the biggest thing he's taught me, if that kind of gives you an answer, is just to relax and chill out. I mean, I'm very much someone who gets very worked up very quickly, gets nervous, worries about everything. And he's like,
no, stop,
mate, just chill out.
I can't believe it.
You're fine.
Shock, my heart. Oh dear.
But yeah, no, it just. But yeah, he's just just like chill out, like, and then even in the game, if things aren't going his way, he's just still super chill. He's like, nothing I can do about it. Let's move on. Don't worry about it. You're more than capable. Things like that which is very, very helpful to me, because if he's saying it, and obviously last year he was the number one goalie, so if that's the way he's thinking, then there's no reason why I can't think about that too. But yeah, I mean, teaching him, I don't know. I mean, he's I feel like he's a much more complete goalie than I am. So I don't think I don't very much. I might have to ask him, or maybe if he listens, he'll tell you. I don't know if there's anything, but yeah, I don't know.
Big question then, of course, coming up, and I'll ask you this one before we get into some questions that we've had some people send in. So I won't ask you what the hard and fast goal is. I'm not going to ask you to stick a marker down in the sand, but you've got to have some sort of aims coming up for this year, and obviously the club is going back, into a new league again. We've had our 2-year stint in the NIHL regional league, and now going to this new 2-import national second tier. What are your kind of like things that you're focusing on going into this season?
For me, number one is stay fit. For me, the work started already for the summer, so I'm going to get myself in a position where I don't have a repeat of what happened before. And then as soon as we see pre-season training comes around, July-ish sort of time, June, July, from then to the start of the season is getting myself into a point where I can start the season playing games quite quickly, not have to wait for my first start, look to a point where the coach think actually, yeah, well, I can play. And then from there, it's just to play as much games as I can if that's what the coaching staff want me to do. If not, then obviously I'm not playing, then support Metzi and the boys as much as I can. But obviously it's the aim for most goalies, and I would think, is to help the team win games. So if that's what that's what I aim to do. Build on what I did last year before I got hurt, and then the weekend towards the end of the year when I got back in a little bit, is to build on that, help us win. But like I said, the most important thing for us is winning games. So if we, between me and Mets, can do that, then we're going to be quite happy no matter kind of what the score lines are, things like that. If we're getting wins for the team, making that big save for the team when we need to, then then we're quite happy.
Cool. Right, let's get into some questions that we've had from some people. Some of them are more serious than others, so this is your warning.
I replied to one already.
Yeah. The one thing that we'll touch on before we get rolling too far into it, right? Swindon. And there is for people who read some of the banners on the wall, bits and pieces, and are slightly unaware of it, there is a section of the Swindon fan base that for some reason have taken Dan very much to their heart, and he is their favourite non-Swindon Wildcat across the league. I'm interested. Obviously you know them, and I know them, and in fact, I've even had Ben Callahan, the Swindon Wildcat social media person, has even tweeted me, "Who's your favourite meal, Kieran?" Who's another one of the Swindon fans that have been involved in this sort of mini cult you have going. I mean, it's obviously nice to be well thought of by fans across the league, but it must be a bit strange to have your own mini cheering section from the opposition.
Yeah, I mean, it's been going on a little while now, a few years. I can't quite remember what started it, to be honest. I think there's one game in Swindon when we were getting pumped, and then they were like, so they then turned their attention to me as the backup goalie, and were like, oh, put the backup in, or things like that. And then I was laughing, I think, and then they were just kind of saying, give us a wave, whatever. I started doing that, and I think it just kind of went from there. But it's nice to be. I'd rather go into a rink and people like me than not, so I'll take it for sure.
Okay, let's crack on with some of these questions then. Like I said, some of them are not very serious at all. So we'll start with one from Gareth. Who would win in a fight between a badger and an otter?
I don't know. Do you know what? I asked my girlfriend for advice on this earlier, but I don't know. Depends on land or not, I would think. Obviously on land, I'd say a badger is bigger, innit? But water, probably not. I don't think badgers do that well in water. I don't know.
Nicola asks, what's your favourite cheese?
Boring.
Vital question here.
Very. I'm very boring. Like, it's just a strong cheddar for me, I think. Just very boring.
This is an acceptable answer. This is an entirely acceptable answer.
That's good. I'm not into all that, that blue cheese and all that fancy stuff. That's not for me. Just strong cheddar's good.
No, you see, I am. I do like my cheese. I like my varieties of cheese. But I've had that question asked to people, and someone's response was a Baby Bell.
Gosh.
And then stopped talking to them. We have a question here from a Mr. J. Cornish of South London. Who's your favourite coach of all time, and how many trophies have you actually won?
Who was that from?
From a Mr. J. Cornish.
As in Coach Cornish.
It is indeed. Yes, Jeremy Cornish, the now retired former coach of the Streatham Redhawks, has poked his head above the parapet to ask that. But
absolute hero. I can't rank my favourite coach I've ever had. I've been with them for different times, haven't I? But playing for Corny was, one of the most rewarding times for me, I think. I mean, he gave me a chance at 16 years old. Kind of right place, right time. The goalie there retired. I was his 18s goalie. He got me in. He gave me a chance, kept me around for 4 years after that. Got on super well. Done so much for me off the ice as well. I was always there for me to talk to somebody. I won't say who my favourite coach is because I've not thought about that, but I'd say he's definitely going to be up in the joint top one. How many trophies I've actually won, I don't know. I've been part of teams that have won a lot of trophies. I won a lot with him on the island, a lot here in Basingstoke. However, I've not contributed to those as much as I would have liked to. But a fair few, I would say. But hopefully, I can win some more coming up in the next few years that I've contributed to a lot more than what I have to the ones I've done so far. Nicest guys on Jay Cornish, by the way.
Nick Dudley is one of the volunteers at Bison on Bison match nights. Lovely bloke is Nick. What's your pre-game ritual? Are you superstitious?
Pre-game ritual? No, not really. It depends on if I'm playing or not. If I'm not playing, I tend to kind of be just out and about, chatting, playing football, trying to just smile on my face, have a laugh with the guys, things like that. Not really superstitious, no. I mean, the only thing is it's not really superstitious, but left pad always goes on first. But other than that, not really. I mean, if I'm playing in a game, I tend to be a bit more quiet. I mean, some of the guys to me this year, we can tell when you're playing or not without before I actually even say anything because you don't talk to anybody. Which isn't what I aim to do, but I just kind of be in my own head. So, but yeah, no superstitions, no, not really at all. Just whatever you need to do to feel good on the day. So it's different every day, and your body doesn't always feel good every day. So you just do what it needs to get in a state where you feel good.
Mike, who's an Invicta Dynamos fan, says thoughts on the GB team for the World Championships and especially the omission of Kieran Long.
Maybe he's read my Twitter. Kind of find it unbelievable he's not made it. He's voted top Brit in the Elite League, top British point scorer, I think, in the Elite League this year as well. Mm-hmm. I feel like I might be a bit biased. I played with Kieran for a long time, but should have been in the squad years ago, I think. Obviously, I don't know the reasons for not picking him. I've heard because of the ankle bruising, but it's a month away. He'd play through a bruised ankle. I know he would. But it's still a strong team. We've got some good depth. Obviously it's going to be tough. Just saw Canada name their squad the other day, and even not with all the main superstars there, they've still got some unbelievable players there, guys. But yeah, for me, if I was picking that team, Kieran's one of the first names on the team sheet, I would say.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I looked at the Canada roster that they've released and saw that Mark Stone and Jonathan Marsh served the Vegas Golden Knights on there. So my theory was, right, we get ourselves a 5-minute power play and just hope that, being as they're Vegas players, they're on the penalty kill. Because whilst dodgy calls are all dodgy calls, he's still letting 3 goals on a penalty kill.
Yeah.
There is our big chance. Will you be watching?
Highlights, yeah. I mean, I support. I follow the Preds, so I mean they went out first round, so now it's kind of just watching and not really minding what happens. But yeah, I just watch the highlights. I don't start till 6 o'clock in the morning and watching it.
And GB at Worlds? I assume you might be cracking the odd beer when you get the occasion to sit back and play those games.
I'll be watching as much of that as I can. Yeah, I mean, it's not often that we get to play at this level and see how our guys match up. Obviously, hopefully they do well. They get an enjoyment out of it. It's an experience that not many guys are going to say they can have. So, yeah. And no, I'll watch as much of that as I can. Much to my girlfriend's delight, I reckon. She'll love it. She's just watched hockey all season, and now she'll be watching it all summer with me as well, maybe. So that'd be good. She smiles next to me right now.
My wife can't complain, given I was watching Australian hockey at 8 o'clock on Sunday morning. Sean Thompson asks, have you ever been to the Isle of Wight?
I saw this. Yeah, typical Tomo. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I've ever been there. Not anymore, but not at all. But yeah, spent 4 years there, lived there for 3. May have mentioned it once or twice. I don't know. I mean, I mentioned it earlier when Corny asked something, so yeah, I guess so. Multiple times.
Cassie, who's a Bison fan, says, was the Steel Dogs bench clearance at home a few seasons ago the only time you fought with another goalie in your ice hockey career? It is a Bison TV video that has gone down in history in my household. One of the more surreal moments, of course, of that was watching you absolutely. And I'm not a massive fight fan. I've been relatively open about what my stance regarding fighting is in ice hockey, but it was very amusing to watch you utterly just pummel the Steel Dogs backup, whose name completely escapes me now off the top of my head.
Oh, I don't know.
But he left the ice acting like he'd won the world heavyweight title, with his face looking like he'd just gone 5 rounds with a machine that fires milk bottles at him at 30 miles an hour. But it's a very bizarre, a very weird moment of your career, because it kind of came out. Obviously, there was, the benches had gone. There was a bit of there's lots of fights going on, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, not only were you fighting them, you got grabbed by security in the middle of that, didn't you?
I did, yeah. That's the only part of that thing that hurt, was getting pulled over the security. Pulled over the boards by a security guard by my face. So my neck was going all sorts of what way, and yeah, that hurt. But yeah, it is the only fight I've had. It's not something I enjoyed. It's not something that I go looking for, although I always seem to end up in the middle of these things. We did it before playing Sheffield, and it all kicked off. Don't know what happened. I went in the middle of there, and ended up with, I think it was Stevie Duncan, had my blocker in his mouth, just biting it, just looking at me and laughing. I was like, what is that? And then in Milton Keynes, I nearly got killed by a Drobny once. He was pushing Hiad low, and I went in. I flew in there, not realising how big the man was. And he just stared down at me. I was like, "Yeah, I'm getting out of here pretty quick." But yeah, he would have killed me. He had hands like shovels. So yeah, just the one. It's not something I plan on doing again. But obviously, needs must sometimes, I guess. But not one I plan on doing.
Where's he gone? Ben asks, how much do you have your incredible brother to thank for your success?
I could give a very soppy answer or a brotherly answer. Brotherly answer is not at all. But in all seriousness, kind of, my support network at home, mum, brother, girlfriend, and then also my family in Wales, where dad, step-mum, my family all in Wales. They're all not so much for support on the ice, but support off of it. So probably quite a lot to all of those guys, to be honest. I owe them a lot. I'm not always the easiest person to get things out of or to talk about things. So, patient with me and things like that. So probably quite a lot, but the brother, not at all. Doesn't do anything. Boring.
And for people who might be a little bit slow on the uptake, yes, that was Dan's brother Ben, who did ask that question. Who's inordinate? He's an inordinately tall chap, your brother, as well, isn't he? I mean, you're not a short guy, but Ben must be what, 6'5", 6'6"?
Yeah, 6'6". I think he is. He's huge. He's my taller, bigger, smaller brother, if that makes sense. But yeah, no, I'm the shortest one now of the family.
Everyone's
short. Of all the boys, yeah, of all the boys in the family, cousins, and all that, I'm the shortest one by quite some distance as well.
The other big question, of course, is having been sent a message by your father, is I wonder how much of his bingo card we've managed to tick off
Probably all of it.
This evening. We'll leave jokes about. We'll leave all the jokes that Tommy Ralph sent us about being Welsh for another time, because hey, I said it on Twitter and I'll say it on this as well, Tommy. Grand Slam, mate. Just live on that one for a while till something goes wrong at the World Cup.
Till next year at least.
Yeah, exactly. Before we head out of here, Dan, any message to give the folks ahead of the summer? Hopefully a bit of a quieter summer for Bison fans, if nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope so. I mean, I can't see anything kind of going wrong this summer. We're totally fine. But yeah, I mean, obviously the support from last season was unbelievable. Like I said, if anyone has me on social media, we genuinely didn't know how many people were gonna turn up, buy tickets, watch the team, or follow some other ones and head off to Bracknell. So obviously the fact that they all stayed with us until the very end was unbelievable, and can't thank them enough for that. To be fair, I didn't really expect anything less, but you never know. There's some people that were season ticket holders, sponsors, all of that, all went to Bracknell based on other stories. So we didn't know how many people were going to follow that. It was amazing to see 99% of you there. And yeah, I mean, enjoy the summer. We're building something I think that's going to be quite special this year. So keep your eyes peeled for things like that. I mean, we'll build on what we did last year. Last year was, I think everyone can say, amazing, thoroughly entertaining, enjoyable. I had lots of people see like they've been watching the Bison for 20, 30 years, and last year was one of the most exciting seasons they've ever had. So, if that's what we could do based on all the stuff happening in the summer and how far behind we were, then just think how much fun it's going to be when we have a full summer to get everything sorted, sponsors, players, everything like that. It's going to be a good one. So we'll see you soon. Season ticket night, I think, is coming up. So we'll see you. I will see you there, along with lots of other guys, I would like to think. And yeah, then we'll see you in September.
And more bizarre Instagram videos?
I don't know. Maybe not through the summer. If I can get some in, obviously I can't. The thing is, I can't say, because I can't say who's here and who isn't. So I can't say, I'll get this guy to do it, because I've got to remain secret. And that's the problem now when you're being on social media, isn't it? I've got to be professional and secret and not give things away.
Or you dancing around in the Bison head without your shirt on.
That was not me. No.
I think most people have correctly figured out who that is, and if you haven't, we're not going to tell you here. Dan, have a good rest of the summer, mate, and if we don't see you at season ticket night, we'll see you when we hit the ice in September.
Thank you very much. I'm sure I'll see you there, but yeah, thank you very much, and you.